Mothers. Can't live with them, but we can sure live without them. Today on rLounge, we meet some mothers that never learned their manners. Up first, a mom trying to live vicariously through her daughter. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom if she wants to plan a wedding to get remarried? I, 32 female, recently started planning my wedding with my fiance, 31 female, and my mom immediately jumped to help us plan. I thought at first it'd be okay, but she will call vendors and venues she likes. We'll give them my information so they call me about a scheduled time, and my mom swoops in to say, "It'd be rude not to go since they invited you." It was obvious it was her after the third time when she wouldn't stop giggling and admitted calling beforehand and making appointments. I wouldn't take issue with this, but my mom and I have wildly different tastes. Every time me or my fiance tell her something like how we want to have this color for the tablecloths or these flowers, she'll tell us that they look bad and will give us her own plan. She recently showed us a massive binder of different ideas she wants us to look through. It's exhausting. At every step, she will insist on looking at her ideas, and when we reject them, she'll throw a fit and tell me I don't love her because I ignore all her wishes. I also want to add, I think she's had it in her head since I was a kid she'd plan my wedding. Even before I came out and dated men, she'd comment on how excited she was for the wedding. And when I told her my fiance proposed, she immediately started berating me about when we'd have the wedding so she could help us plan it. Part of it is that when she married my dad, it was a small courthouse affair because she was pregnant with me at the time and never got a proper wedding. My dad also died 17 years ago, and she's dated sporadically, but never for longer than a few months. The last time me and my fiance went to see a venue, she tagged along and made all these comments about how gross everything was, pointing out all the tiny things wrong with it all. The person showing us was getting annoyed. My fiance was getting annoyed, and so was I. She eventually said, "If this were my wedding, I'd never even consider this dump," despite it being absolutely beautiful and within the budget. I snapped and told her that if she wanted to plan a wedding so badly, she should get remarried. It was cruel, but I was tired of her trying to have her perfect wedding through me. My fiance thinks I'm not at fault, but the rest of my family doesn't agree. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Adding answers to a couple of common questions. Is she paying for the wedding? No. She's not paying a penny. Why don't you set boundaries with her? We have. She doesn't listen and will cry and guilt me and my fiance until we go along with her or look at what she's picked out for us. Let's get some opinions from the community. Carmel Fan says, put her on a very strict info diet and set up passwords with all your vendors so that she can't call pretending to be you. Bandicoot Flat 5838 says, not the a-hole. Cut that off. Tell her she is not welcome to come to any viewings. She is also to send you one email per week with her suggestions, but that is it. And that if she calls and makes appointments for you anywhere else, she's no longer invited to the wedding. For the rest of the family who are taking her side, tell them she is being unreasonable and they are welcome to get her help planning a party of their own. Summertime Fine chimes in, not the a-hole, but going forward, set some boundaries for your mom on what kind of help she can provide, and if she oversteps again, then that's when she needs to just be a guest. I had a friend get married a few years ago and her mom was like this. She ended up going with a venue that took care of everything: ceremony, caterers, DJ, bartenders, photographer, etc. So that her mom couldn't take everything over. I don't think you're being an a-hole at all, OP. She probably originally thought she was helping, but doesn't realize that she's actually not helping at all. That said, I think it makes sense that she's trying to live out her own wedding dreams through you. Moreover, I think when it comes to weddings and babies, a lot of people have a lot of things to say. These life events come with a lot of unsolicited advice. Update. Hello everyone. I took all the advice to heart, and me and my fiance had a sit down and looked at the comments together, and we agreed we both need to grow spines. Our wedding planner is truly a saint and had no problem setting up passwords with vendors like some people suggested, and it was a great suggestion, so thank you. We then invited my mom to dinner and told her that she has to stop trying to help us with the wedding. It started off bad as she brought her binder and had her own wedding dress in her car. Her dress is in very bad condition, would not fit either me or my fiance, and is quite frankly hideous. I would never say that to her face, though I've told her every time she's asked that I want to pick out my own dress and she should keep hers for if she wants to get remarried. She assumed that we had invited her to apologize and let her plan the wedding however she wanted. How she jumped to that conclusion, I have no idea. We lied about not wanting her to get overly stressed in the hope she'd take it better than telling her that she's been causing problems and that she hasn't been helpful. She didn't take it well and started crying, and saying all she ever wanted was for me to have the perfect wedding, and she'd already given up getting the perfect son-in-law and grandchildren, so at the least we could let her plan the wedding. It stunned us both, as she has never said a bad word about me liking women. Not when I came out, not when I got my first girlfriend, and not when me and my fiancé got engaged. That put me over the edge, and I told her that she wasn't going to plan anything. She was a guest and nothing more, and I would be cutting her speech if she was going to behave like a child. She had a full-on tantrum, so me and my fiancé paid and left for her to cry and scream in the restaurant. That was all fine and dandy until our florist called to tell us my mom had called to try and get the flower arrangements changed behind our back. I called her, and she tried to lie until she realized she was backed into a corner and admitted to doing it because she knew what was best and was trying to help. Needless to say, that I've now uninvited her from the wedding with the full support of my fiancé and my soon-to-be mother-in-law and father-in-law. Let's get one quick comment from the community. Texas Burgundy had this to say: "Wow, make sure security has her picture on your wedding day. Best of luck to you both." Ooh, good job, OP. No one else is going to stick up for you but yourself. I feel like it would have been fine if she hadn't tried to sabotage your flowers after that conversation. Seems foolish. Update. My mom tried to crash my wedding and is now guilt-tripping me. I'm so done. Just so done with her. 3 months of hell, but finally me and my wife are happily married. Not once did my mom think of me and what I wanted. She wouldn't stop trying to call vendors, getting things changed, and try to guess the passwords. At one point, we changed the passwords every week to random things so that she couldn't guess them. We didn't post the date anywhere and had on the invitations that the guests couldn't share the date and location, yet somehow she got both. We even told her that the stress was too much, and we were going to wait until the summer or later to get married, and she screamed at us, telling us that we were horrible and canceling it to spite her. We blocked her phone number and reduced the wedding budget significantly so we could hire good security. Thank effing God we did, and gave them pictures of her because somehow she found out the date, time, and location and came in her mother effing wedding dress and demanded to be let in because it was her wedding. I'm beyond done. I'm typing this as me and my wife are waiting to get on our plane to go home after an incredible honeymoon. We even looked at job openings in apartments that are at least 6 hours away from where we currently live because my loving mother has taken to sending us letters, calling me a horrible daughter, and sending packages that are piles of pictures from when I was a kid, and I loved her unconditionally with notes, asking why I don't love her anymore and why I banned her from the wedding, how excited she was for it, how it was her right as my mom to go. She tried to guilt me. She cursed me out, and what? Thought I'd give up? Let her do whatever she wants and run my life for me? And act as if she's not been a pain in my butt since I told her that me and my wife were beginning to plan the wedding? My best friend who was house sitting got the honor of opening them all and sending us the contents. She hand-delivered the first one the day after the wedding while we were on a plane. I know because the Ring doorbell caught it and all of the other ones she delivered, as well as the ones the mailman delivered. I'm fuming. I'm pissed, and I want to scream because, what the F? She tried to ruin my wedding. My own mother tried to ruin my wedding and is trying to make me feel bad. She tried to plan my wedding for me, threw a tantrum when I asked her not to, tried to sabotage it, and then crashed it. But sure, I'm the problem here. Edit. Adding some context now that I've calmed down. My mom had a courthouse wedding, which is why she wanted to plan mine, and after my dad died, she hasn't found someone new to settle down with and have the wedding of her dreams. When me and my wife tried to set boundaries and put a stop to her calling vendors to change things and have us go see venues, she wanted under the guise of us being invited when she'd made an appointment. When we tried to ask her to stop because we didn't want her to stress out, a lie to try and negate her reaction to being asked to stop, she threw a fit and let her true feelings be known about me marrying a woman, which boiled down to she was making a massive sacrifice not getting a son-in-law and grandchildren. I also can't have kids. It would be very difficult to, at least. And adopting or my wife carrying the child wouldn't count because they wouldn't be her grandchildren biologically. I have 2 other posts where there's all of this in more detail if anyone wants to know more. Last of all, thank you to everyone saying congratulations. Me and my wife have been looking at comments and will be finding the wedding mole as well as working on evidence to get a restraining order and moving far away. Let's see one more reaction from the community. Mick1187 wanted to say, time for a restraining order. Or, at the very least, a cease and desist. This is straight up harassment. Also, someone in your circle can't be trusted, it seems, as she keeps finding out your personal info. Congrats on your almost drama-free wedding and marriage. After you move, get a lot box and see about an unpublished address. You can also opt out on those info websites, etc. Good luck. Oh boy, it definitely seems like she lost her mind a little bit, especially wearing her own wedding dress. Yikes. This sounds like a disgusting level of narcissism and manipulation. I'm sorry you have to deal with this, and I'm sorry your mother can't be supportive or compassionate. She seems like a very selfish person. What did your parents do when you announced you were getting married? Did they try to cross boundaries and take control of your wedding planning? Let us know below. Up next, a mother-in-law who should have stayed where she belonged. Am I the a-hole? I quit while in the midst of moving my mother-in-law. It rained overnight and ruined everything I had left outside. Backstory. My mother-in-law lived 4 hours from our city. Last year, she decided to sell her house and move near the family. She recently closed on another house here as her house was under contract. My wife stayed home, overseeing some work being done on the new house while also painting. Myself and our daughter, 6, went down to my mother-in-law's house to get her moved out. My mother-in-law is the type of lady that exalts males on a glorious pedestal. Over the years, she has made numerous inappropriate remarks about my body build or my appearance. She has even gone as far as asking very personal questions. Nonetheless, her mouth has gotten her in major trouble. With that said, when we arrived, she seemed to have been minding her manners at first. She made a comment to my daughter along the lines of, when she gets older, she would marry a man just like her father. Later that night, we had an argument. My kid did not eat dinner because she had a stomachache. My mother-in-law demanded she help clean the kitchen and said I should be relaxing instead. My argument was, why should she have to help clean up from a dinner when she didn't even eat? The next morning, my daughter slept in a bit, which irritated my mother-in-law. She made a comment that my wife is lazy, and that's where her granddaughter gets it from. It pissed me off considering all the work my wife had been doing to our new house. An hour later, my daughter got out of bed. I was outside when my mother-in-law was putting socks on my kid and said, "Don't ever get fat like your mother." I didn't know about the comment until the next day. As they were packing boxes, I overheard my mother-in-law telling my daughter that her mother tried aborting her. For the record, that is not true. It was my mother-in-law that was hounding my wife to abort the pregnancy because she said my wife would blow up even bigger, and that having kids ruins lives. All my daughter knew about abortion was that it meant a mother does not want or cannot have the baby. My child was upset and hurt. My instinct was to get her away from that environment. We got lunch, and I took her to the beach to distract her mind. We spoke it over. I promised her what her grandmother had said was not true. I called my wife, and she and our child spoke for a while. It was while they were on the phone the comment about not getting fat like your mother was brought to my attention. We went back to the house. I gathered our belongings and we left. Outside sat several pieces of furniture and a few large boxes. My mother-in-law tried hiring movers after we left, but none were available. Overnight it rained, which ruined everything. My brother-in-law called me a piece of crap for letting her furniture get ruined. Also claimed it was elder abuse. A week later, I received a handwritten bill requesting $4,000 for the ruined furniture. My mother-in-law wrote how saddened she was to realize my wife had brainwashed and demasculinized me. The move occurred at the first of the year. Yesterday, I received an additional handwritten letter stating I will be sued if I do not pay for damages. Let's see what the community thinks. Orange Cubit says, "Not the a-hole, and I hope your entire family goes no contact with this cruel and toxic woman." Numerous Thai 9877 chimes in, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm suing my son-in-law for damages. He left because I intentionally inflicted emotional trauma on his daughter. No, he wasn't being paid for his work. No, he was under no contractual obligation to complete the job. No, I made no effort to cover my own items with tarps, garbage bags, etc. when I realized it was raining. Yeah, I don't see that playing out real well for her in court." 6500 Seth says, "Not the a-hole. That's wild. Your mother-in-law is a narcissist. Politely let her know you will deduct it from what she owes from your wife and daughter's past and future therapy bills to deal with the trauma she's created by being awful. Also, she probably has homeowner's insurance. Iffy if that is coverable." Whoa. It's odd that your mother-in-law wanted to move closer to the family and yet doesn't act like your family at all. I almost want to say that the handwritten letter is just a scare tactic. Do you think she's saying negative things about your wife because she's jealous of her? Especially with the things she's telling your daughter. Needs to make your wife look bad in all aspects. Maybe your mother-in-law feels the need to put your wife down so she can feel better about herself. What do you think? Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below.